Now, your forecast first, sponsored by Matex Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing.
Cloud cover out there has kept our temperatures down throughout the day, along with areas of rain showers. So a little bit cooler than what we had yesterday, and a little bit less in the way of coverage of those showers. But if you up into Ford, Iroquois County, you can see a little cell right there near Buckley. Another one up near Watsika. And a third one near Roberts, producing very light showers as they move off to the north. Expecting, again, a scattered shower or storm through this evening. Temperatures running in the mid-70s across the area. And another evening, we're expecting those mild temperatures and the mugginess to stick around. But hang in there. Big change in the weather coming our way. We'll talk about a pretty nice weekend forecast when we come back. WCIA 3 News starts right now.
Now from WCIA 3 News.
We feel like it's kind of a direct attack on the Word of God.
And he says the governor is to blame, why the next step could be in a courtroom. Plus, a teenager and his family are lucky to be alive. We'll tell you what happened to their car. They've been told they can start their engines. The reason track officials, though, aren't ready to wave the green flag.
You're watching your local news leader. This is WCIA 3 News at 6.
It really restricts what the Word of God tells us to do.
A Champaign pastor feels his right to hold church services is being violated, so he's taking the issue to federal court. He also runs a social service organization that provides clothes, shoes, and other essentials, but it has a cap of 10 people gathering because of its ties to religion. Good evening, I'm Jennifer Roscoe. The pastor is suing Governor Pritzker. WCIA 3's Courtney Bunting explains why.
We feel like it's kind of a direct attack on the Word of God.
For Pastor Dustin Brown, his decision to sue Governor Pritzker is not about his ministry specifically. It's about fairness. Brown is the pastor of a church in Champaign called The Table. He's also the executive director of Jesus House Restoration Ministries, which helps economically challenged people. His congregation started meeting outside when the stay-at-home order took effect.
At that time, we were in Westside Park, and we did that because we were trying to be in as much concordance with the executive order as we could.
But the Public Health District eventually filed a cease and desist order against them.
Champaign Police Department worked with us actually very well. 2 different sergeants, and both of those sergeants just said, hey, you know, you're killing me because you're in the park. I know what you're trying to do. We're not really against you, but you got to get a private venue will help a whole lot.
Brown got permission to move services here to the parking lot of Rogers Supply Company off Washington Street. He says everyone attending is staying 6 feet away from each other.
A couple songs, preach a word, we offer prayer, and then we open up and we serve a hot meal.
But the health district says those gatherings still fall outside their guidelines, which now limit religious services to 10 people, even outdoors. However, Brown feels the standard for his services should be the same way as they are with other social service organizations, which he says allow more than 10 to gather. Brown's attorney filed a lawsuit on his behalf, saying the standard should be the same for all.
Daytime drop-in centers and shelters and things like that, they're doing the exact same thing. The only difference between us and them is we're preaching the Word of God.
In Champaign, Courtney Bunting, WCIA 3, your local news leader.
The governor has until tomorrow to come up with a response to that lawsuit. Now, Pritzker's Phase 3 reopening plan does include the option for churches to have drive-in services. Public Health has been requesting churches submit ideas on how they can operate safely. We have more information about the pastor's lawsuit on our website. The state conducted more than 17,000 tests in the last 24 hours, and the governor said today the positivity rate was 6.5%. There are around 1,100 new cases in the state. That makes it 114,000 total. 160 more people have died. There are more than 5,000 deaths in the state of Illinois. The Villa Senior Care Facility in Sherman has suffered another death. That's the 24th person to die who lived there. There are 108 cases there, 62 residents, and 46 staff members. We have new details now. Authorities now believe they know how a 69-year-old Farmer City woman died. Donna Kelly was first reported missing last Thursday. She was found dead in her home last night. Police say the preliminary autopsy shows she died from diabetic complications. Just this past Saturday, a search crew of police and people from all around Farmer City looked for her. Champaign police have arrested a man they say shot and killed a man last week. They say Keith Baker turned himself in today. He's accused of shooting 25-year-old James Coleman near Gramercy Park Apartments on Country Fair Drive. Police say a fight broke out at a gathering in an apartment, and that led to Coleman being shot. Anti-violence groups are trying to find ways to stop crime in Champaign. Last night, a man was shot at a home near the corner of Ridgewood and Dogwood. No arrests have been made yet. We talked to several people who live nearby. They heard the shots and saw the man on the ground. Last night, a Champaign-Urbana group called First Followers held a virtual meeting to talk about solutions to end all of this. The city of Champaign says that's just one of several efforts being made to unite the community. A man was killed after a two-car crash yesterday. It happened in Iroquois County at County Road 1900 North and 500 East. Police say Christopher Benz didn't stop at a stop sign and hit a car driven by Felipe Arenada. The passenger in Arenada's car was pronounced dead at the hospital. His name hasn't been released. We have an update to a story from last night. One firefighter was hurt after responding to the fire at the Christensen Hog Farm in Edgar County. It broke out yesterday at Christensen Farms just outside of Newman. There were roughly 1,300 pigs in the barn that caught fire. They don't have exact numbers, but say the majority survived. No word yet on the cause or cost of the damage. A group of teenagers almost drowned after trying to drive through a flooded road. Happened yesterday in Taylorville. Now they are counting themselves lucky and knowing they learned an important lesson. WCIA3's Cole Hankey has more.
It all started as a birthday fishing trip for two siblings in Taylorville.
My son had asked if he could take my daughter, it was her 16th birthday, fishing for the day.
But it started pouring on the way home, making the drive more complicated.
Next thing I know, I was getting a phone call from Braden letting me know that the water had taken his truck away and I needed to get to Langleyville Road immediately.
Nikki Denning's son, Braden, drove his truck onto a flooded road, thinking he would make it through no problem. That's when they lost control and the truck started to float. The current from the water and the truck's momentum then dragged them over 100 feet into this ditch on the side of the road where the water was nearly 6 feet deep.
It's just like a sudden panic. Like you don't know what to do. You're just freaking out. It's like you just black out panic.
Everyone got out of the truck okay, but it was a close call. Denning's son rolled down his window, helping his sister and their friend out of the car, and then they swam to safety. The truck was almost entirely underwater when they made their escape.
The car just started soaking from the floor up, and luckily my brother got his window down. If he wouldn't have, we would have drowned.
People who live in the area say the road floods often, and that day water was nearly above their mailbox. Now that she knows her kids are all right, Denning is hoping that this can turn into a teaching moment.
The turnaround, don't drown is completely true. If you don't know, you don't go.
Reporting in Taylorville, I'm Cole Hankey.
Now, once the water receded, the Taylorville Fire Department came and pulled the car out of the ditch. One Hall of Fame coach is being honored with the field named after him, and it comes at a time when he's facing the toughest battle of his life, and also tonight.
She feels a need here in a way that she probably doesn't even know.
That need is filled with music. Find out the special audience tonight's Angel Among Us make sure is not forgotten.
And those clouds sticking around here tonight, that's the Roofing Dog INET First Midbank camera in Charleston, where we show you a recap of today, where temperature still made it up into the 80s, but we are going to see a nice cool down here soon. It's going to align with the weekend. We'll talk about how we've still got a little bit of storm activity to get through before that arrives when we come back.